Welcome to Marketing with Confidence. I'm your host, Marianne Amies. We're going to be talking all things digital and online marketing for business owners and marketing professionals. If you've been feeling overwhelmed by your digital marketing, be sure to listen along and you'll hear tips, interviews and more that will give you the confidence to create marketing you love. Welcome back to Marketing with Confidence. I'm so excited today to be joined by Taryn Williams talking about successful influencer marketing. Hi, Taryn.
Thanks for having me. So good to be here.
Oh, so excited. Look, to kick off, introduce yourself and tell us about how you became obsessed with connecting businesses with influencers.
Yes, you're right. I absolutely am obsessed with all things social and influencer and UGC. So the long story, I started the industry myself as a model a very, very long time ago. And then I started my first business, which is a full service modeling agency called Wink Models, about 17 years ago. Which is ridiculous when I look back on it now. And that business now has about 350 models Australia-wide, offices in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Amazing. And about a decade ago, I built an end-to-end onboarding, calendar management and payroll integration software for that business because we had so many models and there was so much key dependency in the business. And that was sort of my first foray into tech. And I just really fell in love with it. I love this idea of solving business problems using technology. Yeah. And I got to the end of that build and I was like, oh, I really should have built this for clients to be able to use it directly, not to have to come through an agency. So that was where the idea for my next business, which was Right Fit, came from, which was essentially a two-sided marketplace, very much like an Airtasker or an Upwork, but for creative talent. So photographers and models and influencers and stylists and makeup artists. And I exited that business to an international group earlier this year. I had another business called the Influencers Agency as well, which was a full service influencer agency. So we would manage campaigns end to end for brands. I sold that to the same group that bought the Right Fit. And then my new baby is called #, which is a way for brands to be able to collaborate in a contra-only capacity with influencers and content creators to make UGC or get reach for their products or invite them to events and experiences. So it's sort of high growth gifting at scale. We've got a Shopify integration. And then for influencers, it's like a little dating style app. So they swipe right on all of their goodies. So I've sort of always been in the talent space. And obviously as the industry has evolved, more and more of that has shifted towards social media, online content, UGC. And I've just really loved seeing the industry evolve and change, especially over the last sort of 3 years. It's been a wild ride.
Amazing. It makes me feel quite lazy for just having one business over 13 years.
One is perfect. Don't do any more.
But what I love and talking to you earlier as well, we do work with all small businesses and influence can be such a hard space for them to navigate. And, number one, all the burning stories, I sent this person all this stuff and they did nothing. And then number two, just there's no pricing guidelines. There's, anybody can ask for anything. And often, small business owners don't have the tools or the knowledge to go and, sense check, is this person worth $1,000, but this person's worth $300? How does that compare? And I've used the Right Fit for clients and it's such an amazing platform. And now Gifted to have a platform that focuses on contra, such a huge gap in the market. So I think, what you've obviously done so well is identify those market gaps and really fill them, which is awesome.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to take the ick factor out of it because as a creator myself, I receive so many products sent to our office because PR agencies and brands have my address. And I feel really guilty because I'm like, some of it, clothes that maybe don't fit or skincare that's not suitable for me. And I feel really bad because I'm like, this brand has probably paid a lot of money for a PR agency or PR agencies, got the hard cost of the gifts. And I was like, it's so wasteful. I don't want, rather it go to someone who really wants it. And then on the flip side, there'd be times where I do really need things like going to Brisbane for an event next week, and I've wanted a night accommodation in exchange for some social posts. So then there's just sliding into the DMs of the brand. Is it going to the right person? Who knows? The whole thing just felt really ick. So that was the idea, to try and remove that process and allow people just to match who genuinely want to collaborate with each other and are excited about trying that product, or are going to be in Sydney for that event date or whatever it might be.
Yeah, and I think it's so win-win, again, for creators, there is that, and there's all that. And I always sort of say to clients, like, they're trying to make a living too, so that, like, the ones that have monetized, which is fantastic, that's their living. So, you need to respect what they've built, and they need content too, because they're looking, so it is a real economy. And I think a way for everybody to kind of win and navigate that and feel really authentic and valuable to both parties is so important.
So important. Couldn't agree more.
Now I'm going to fast fire question you to get a bit deeper. So what's your favorite business book that you've read?
Oh, there's so many. I'm binging on Instagram, the early stages of Instagram, and how it was built. I can't remember the name, but I'll have to send it to you. But I didn't realize that one of the founders of Instagram, he'd worked at Twitter, he'd worked at Facebook, he'd worked at Google. So he really had, such a deep domain expertise before starting Instagram. And when they sold to Facebook, they were only 19 employees for $1 billion sale. I just assumed it was like this huge company, but 19 employees when they sold for $1 billion. Wow. So I'm really enjoying that book. Yeah. And another book that I love is The Hard Thing About Hard Things, which is a fantastic book on high growth tech companies. It's by one of the partners at Andreessen Horowitz, which is a large VC firm in the US. And I think any founder, it will really resonate with them. All of the really tough times, sleepless nights. Yeah, pretty accurate description of the experience.
Amazing. And what's your favorite follow right now? So on any platform or podcast, what can't you get enough of?
I'm a big podcast fan, and I'm also a big LinkedIn stalker. So I love LinkedIn. Look, I'd certainly use Instagram and TikTok, Threads. Threads I haven't really got onto as much as I probably should be.
I know. It was like I think it'll resurface. I think we just all need some time to wrap our heads around.
That's exactly how I feel. I'm like, I just need some time. So I do love LinkedIn, especially when there's something like trending or topical happening. Yeah. It's really great for, a source of news. But there's also people who just nail LinkedIn. Steve Cox, who's the CEO of Destination New South Wales, I think he does a fantastic job of LinkedIn. He's always sharing awesome content. Yeah. It's a great way to stay up to date. I love knowing what's going on in our sort of in our state and seeing awesome, collaborations that they're doing and cultural events. And I've been, watching keenly what's going on with South by Southwest. So I love following his content.
Fantastic. And then lastly, what gets you out of bed every day?
Oh, look, I do love exercising. So getting up and knowing that I've got somewhere to go and exercise, whether it's yoga or Pilates, and getting a cup of coffee is, that's a big part of it. But I do love solving business problems. So what I love about my job at the moment is that it's so diverse because I don't have a full-time CEO role anymore. I get to work with so many different interesting projects. Obviously, I've got my own businesses. I still own Wink. I still own Cash Gifted, but I get to consult and sit on some amazing boards. And so getting to see all of the different challenges, there's always something interesting going on in one of those businesses. And I love it. I love meeting founders that I mentor and advise and consult to too. So it's, every day is a little bit different, which I love.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome. Well, look, one of the great things about influencer marketing, I think, is it does have a bit of, low cost and, accessibility. And so at the moment, we're obviously navigating times where people are feeling pressure. Business owners are feeling pressure. We're uncertain, or you hear that uncertainty, have we had the worst? Is the worst coming? So I guess, how does influencer marketing fit in as a cost-effective strategy in your mind?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more that we're really staring down the barrel of the gun of potentially a recession. We've seen all of the big retailers start to revise their expectations. Obviously, this was on the back of the tech crunch as well. So, it's really impacted a lot of businesses. And the thing that I love about influencer marketing is that it's something that you can really quickly turn on and turn off. It's not a high risk. So it's not like, oh my God, we're going to invest all of this money in an ad campaign for billboards or TV that once we've made the commitment, there's no going back, and it's a multi-million-dollar investment or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I love that it's scalable, so you can scale up and scale back on those tougher months. You can really pull back to just doing gifting, for example, which is a very, very low risk, low cost for a business, and that you can really trial different tactics and audiences to see what resonates with your brand at a very low cost. So if you decide, okay, we want to focus on a repositioning strategy and we want to go for a younger target audience, we're going to try TikTok. We've done an analysis. These are the kind of influencers that might work best for our audience for a pretty low budget, like maybe doing a handful of paid people and a handful of contra people. You can really see if that is going to be an effective channel for your brand. And if, if that new audience is going to work, if TikTok is going to work. And so I really love that it doesn't have to be high risk because I really am all about democratizing content and making it easier for brands, to be able to create great UGC. The thing I do, now I'm on a rant. The thing I do about influencer campaigns is that brands often just go, great, content has been made, influencer has done the post, campaign complete, instead of thinking about how else they can use it, because it's such an effective way to make awesome content that you can use in different things. So, can you add this to your e-com store to show how the product looks on someone? Can you include it in newsletters? Can you use it for digital ads, pre-roll on YouTube or whatever it might be? Like there's so many other ways that you can repurpose pieces of content. So I think just thinking strategically about getting, the most bang for your buck out of each post.
Absolutely. And I'm always the same. I'm like, did you ask for advertising rights? Did you ask for newsletter rights? Because it's, what you've effectively done is shortcut the trust and credibility piece. Instead of me saying to you, this new foundation I developed is so amazing, somebody that other people already trust is now saying it's amazing. So you've shortcut this whole piece of the marketing funnel, but then you want to get that out to as many people as possible. And it's not just about marketing to that influencer's audience. It's using that advocacy back to people that don't know either of you, but see it as an independent party. And you're right, that when you think of it like that, you imagine, obviously you have a modeling agency, you imagine casting that as a shoot, hiring space, someone producing it, someone editing it, that is thousands of dollars. Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's thousands of dollars for what all we need these days is a 90-second clip, and the cost effective of using someone that, number one, creators are so awesome at creating what they produce, style, all in one person's brain is amazing. And you've got that you can then utilize over all these platforms. So it is, I think, and it's the way you talked about earlier, you've adapted your business models kind of to how the industry has changed, and that humanized, rough and raw is more and more what's leading in, across all digital platforms really. And this is the opportunity to get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there'll always be a place for the big glossy TV ads and billboard ads, campaigns or whatever. But I think less and less is that place on social. I think maybe in the early days of Instagram, we were looking for highly curated, beautiful content. And I think more and more people want that authenticity. They want that, raw content that really tells a story that they feel like they resonate with. And,
agree.
So I think that being able to use creators to do that at scale and being able to experiment with different content types. Maybe your customers love get ready with me videos. Maybe they love, I don't know, beautiful flat lays, or, you just don't know. So being able to experiment with that, at a really low cost, I think is super exciting.
I have to say, my 11-year-old daughter said to me the other day, what is GRWM? She said, I keep seeing it on YouTube. I was like, it's get ready with me. Come on. Like, how can you not know?
Oh my God. I love that she's like so down with it too, though. I need to know what get ready with me is.
Yeah. I think, they're doing their makeup. And just, yeah. Like, it's that, and it filters down and filters down.
Yeah.
What about the best examples you've seen about, collaboration with influencers and businesses and what you've loved about it?
I think there's so many great brands. I mean, I think Crocs have done an amazing job pretty organically. I'm sure they sparked it, by working with some higher tier creators.
Yeah.
But just some people who have, I remember 5 years ago, Crocs were like, oh my God, you would not be see dead in them. Like it was cringe-worthy. And now they're like such a fashion moment. And they did such a good job of collaborating with other brands, making really cool content with influencers and making them awesome. And I think it totally changed the narrative around their brand. And so I think it goes to show that if you're, that brand could have been really risk adverse and said, well, like, what if this alienates our core customer, which is, I don't know, I'm guessing, like a more mature, mum and dad who maybe use them for gardening or whatever. Like, what if we lose them by working with all these funky street influencers?
What if?
They went out and they took a risk, and I absolutely love that. So I think they're definitely, one that I would highly recommend to other brands to have a look at and think, what can we do to create a brand story that is a bit fun, a bit edgy, maybe outside of our comfort zone, and be willing to take a little bit of a risk.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny, just talking about that, I think as well, that diversity, right? Like sometimes when we go down that, planned, produced, edited route, we don't have as much diversity, where this also gives you an opportunity to try really different, styles of creators or, physical looks or backgrounds or ages, and actually test your market and maybe unlock a whole market segment that you didn't even realize suited your brand without having to go and invest in a big campaign to find out that it doesn't suit them. Some small tests tell you yes or no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So look, I guess to, wrap up or, go a little deeper than wrap up, what are your top tips for business owners that are wanting to collaborate with influencers?
I think firstly, try and work out what it is that you're trying to achieve. Like I think if you go in with like a pretty clear objective, it's easier for all of the rest of it to work out. So if you're obviously everyone's like sales, I want more sales, but okay, that's the dream scenario, right? But if you go, okay, well, like we really want to promote this particular product and we really think it's, suitable for this particular type of consumer. And obviously we can't just say, every woman between 20 and 60. Trying to get a little bit more granular with our audiences and then going, okay, how can I add value to that person's life?
Yes.
And that's where it's like thinking about content that could add value. Is it get ready with me videos? Is it exercise videos? Is it, whatever it is, tool tips, anything that's not just, person holding product saying buy this product, adding that much value. And so then thinking of those sort of content ideas and then thinking about who is the right type of advocate or expert in that space. So, if it is a get ready with me video or a beauty tutorial video, for example, finding someone who makes that great content that people follow specifically for that and then work with them. And I always say, be clear, but don't be dictatorial because creators have spent all of this time building their audience, building trust. They generally have a pretty good idea of what's going to perform well, and try and be collaborative with them and say, look, this is what we're really trying to achieve. This is some information about the product, some information about our brand guidelines, our tone of voice and all of those things. How do you think you could work with us to best showcase this product? Yeah. And as you were saying before, they are like little mini media powerhouses. Like they have amazing ideas. They might be like, oh my God, I could do this, really crazy shot thing with X, Y, and Z, or, this type of content's performing really well at the moment. Yeah. Why don't we try that? So once you have that sort of collaborative conversation, I think from there it's really easy to get, high quality content that's going to perform for both of you because it should be that mutually beneficial relationship. And I think the big one, especially for smaller brands, like just don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay. That's what great creators are here to guide you through the process. They're happy to be collaborative. They want it to be successful for you, So I think, working with them in a way that you can say, look, I haven't done this before, or, this is my first time executing a campaign of this scale, or we haven't done TikTok before. Can you guide us through this? And I think having realistic expectations as well, I think is really important, and not thinking, okay, oh my God, I've got this one person to do one post and I'm going to sell out of my product and problem solved. It's a part of the marketing funnel, but it's not all of your marketing funnel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I would add to that, I think from what I've seen, a top tip is to definitely go to Hash Gifted and start using that platform. And I say that, so genuinely, because working with so many small businesses, I know how sometimes budget restrained they can be and how hard they find it to navigate influencer marketing. And I think, what I love about this platform that you've created is it's about true collaboration, and it's about saying, I've got this, what can you offer me, if I send it to you, rather than blind sending, or rather than, spending hours DMing people that aren't sure who you are. It's such a beautiful, I guess, platform where both parties feel there's trust and credibility, and that they can start a really mutually beneficial, like you said, relationship together as well.
Thank you. Yeah. And if anyone that's listening to this wants to just give it a try for a month for free on us, just shoot me an email. And I'm very happy to gift you a month for taking the time to listen to me rant this morning and have a rant.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And look, how can people follow along with you and hear and see more of you?
Absolutely. So my email is taryn@hashgifted.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Taryn Williams, Taryn, singular. And same on Insta, Taryn Williams. So get in touch with me on any or all channel. And of course, always happy to help with models from Wink Models as well. So get in touch if there's anything that I can do to help.
Amazing. I will pop all that in the show notes as well for people. But Taryn, thank you so much for your time today and all your expertise. And really lovely talking to you.
You too. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. Hey, thanks for listening to another episode. If you don't want to miss one, make sure you subscribe to the show in your podcast app. And if you love it, be sure to share it with friends and colleagues who you think could benefit from increasing their digital marketing confidence. Want more? Head to maryanneamies.com to find out how you can work with me directly, to reach out to have me speak at your event, or to grab yourself some free resources.